All right, what is my most memorable experience with a client? Let's see. I have so many that I just love. They're so amazing. I've had scary experiences that I will not talk about. Okay, so I had a client a couple years ago, and 1 year ago. Is it one? A little over a year ago now. She came in for one situation. She was having some emotional situations going on. She wanted to address some things. And while we were here, as I explained what I do, she learned that I could work on physical stuff too, you know, because I sit with you first and we talk. And so we worked on some physical things with her body. And she had knee issues. She said she has had chronic knee pain for years. I can't remember if it was 5 years or 8 years, but she's had chronic knee pain. She would get knee injections every few months, and it was just a mess. And you know, when the cortisol or whatever it was wore off, then she was in pain again. She was telling me how she walks up steps. She would walk up the steps, you know, 1, 2, and then 1, 2, you know, she couldn't walk up steps 1, 2, 3, 4, or down 1, 2, you know, she would have to stair step and kind of climb her way up the steps while her knees were in pain, walking around. And my office is down a flight of steps. So we do the session, and then she goes, wow, I think my knees feel a little better. And I was like, oh, really? Because you know what, in the session, you know, I think we were in session for like a little over 2 hours. And I think I forgot that we were actually going to be working on the knees. I just worked on everything, you know. And then she brought up the knees. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm glad that they feel better. And she said, I can't wait to walk up those steps. And I was like, okay. And she left. And then later, I checked on her. How are you doing? How are your knees? Oh, they're fine. And then a couple days later, how you doing? How are your knees? And her daughter, who was also a client, said, my mom said, what knees? Those knees wasn't hurting. And she called me Rorree. She said, thank God for Rorree. So that was one of my most memorable experiences. And after that, she had that first session in November. And then she called me 4 months later and she said, Rorree, I'd like to have another session. She didn't explain why. I was like, okay, cool. So we scheduled it. She came in and she said, well, you know, the pain started to come back. And I said, when? And she said, it was like maybe a week or 2 ago. Okay. And I said, well, you know what, maybe what we'll do is meet every 3 months, and maybe we'll try to head the pain off until it dissipates permanently. And she said, okay. And so we did the session, and then I kept checking on her, and then I had it in my calendar, you know, 3 months, and I checked on her. No, I'm good. I'm not going to come in. Okay, cool. And then I had some specials. Okay, if you want to come in, I had free clinics. Come on in and get some touches. She was like, I'm good. And then I saw her daughter, like maybe a year later. And I said, how's your mom? How are those knees? She said, Rorree, those knees don't hurt. I said, what? A year later? Get out of here. So that, I just thank God for what he does through me. That is just so amazing to me, that this woman that was having cortisol shots in her knees on a regular every few months came to me twice, and she hasn't been back in over a year. To me, that's amazing. And that's one thing that I like about what I do. I like it better than being a traditional therapist. When I was a therapist, the clients had to come to me every week. I was like, oh my God, really? You know, and I was, you know, I wish I could have just done what I do with those clients so that they didn't have to come and see me every week. But you know, it was bad enough that a client that I described earlier with the hip issue, the psychologist that was over me at that company, he said, you can't work with people and treat them so fast. She might think you're a faith healer. And I said to myself, yeah, that's what some people call me. But anyway, anyway, it's been amazing. I love what God does through me. I love the effects that it has on people. I love when people have what they want. There was this one young lady, she had 8 homes she needed to sell. And she was like, oh my God, the market's declining. I'm not going to be able to sell these houses, blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's do some work on those houses. So we did some work on the houses. All 8 of those jokers sold right away. I was like, wow, here we go. And so it's just amazing what can be done, what God does through me. And I'm grateful, and I don't know, I don't know what else to say. I'm just grateful, and I'm blessed.